Good morning, how are you this morning? I've got my cup of tea. It's a bit chilly in the office and I'm determined not to put the heating on. I have come across people who have had their heating on a little bit already, and I do try very hard not to do it in September. But my office is in the cellar of the house, so we shall see how well I fare this year. What are we going to talk about today? Well, you know because you watch this, but I'm on the computer and I do use social media, and I have a little look through Facebook and Twitter, and there's some really good things about Facebook and Twitter. They can be very easy places to go and get information if you are following the right sources, and follow BBC News. It's a very easy way to pick up all the headlines and see which articles you want to read well, if you think the BBC is a good news source. It's a way of keeping in touch with friends, of course, and it's also a way of checking out topical and political and social issues, isn't it? But oh my goodness, don't we have to be careful who we follow and who we listen to? And I'm really quite shocked, actually, by the number of things that I see and read that are just rubbish, just utter rubbish. And you've only got to spend about 30 seconds checking the source to realise that the person that has retweeted or has chosen to share and comment on what looked like an innocuous post but kind of was a strange one to have crop up, it is rooted in a site or a group of people that are probably not the sort that you would want to be associated with. You know the sort of thing I mean. And I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to give anybody any airtime, really. But I think that during the lockdown, and when those of us that are computer savvy became more reliant on the technology, it became a very easy source. The computer and social media, they became very easy sources for us to gather opinion and collect our information and convince ourselves that we're well informed. So rather than a nice, gentle, easy little chat today, I'd like to challenge you about that and about how you're using social media and whether you're confident of the sources that you refer to and that you happily join in with. I often do a little check through that the pages that I like and the groups that I'm part of are really rooted in things that are good and are trustworthy. That's the word, isn't it, about it being trustworthy. And that whole conversation comes from, sorry, I just lean from my Bible as I leer into the screen at you, comes from a little bit in Proverbs that I came across. Listen to this. Make no friends with those given to anger, and do not associate with hotheads, or you may learn their ways and entangle yourself in a snare. Now, I'm not sure about not being friends with people who are given to anger, because sometimes anger is righteousness, isn't it? And sometimes anger is important and necessary for change. But I do like this idea of being careful to not associate with hotheads. That's about being rooted in good research, history, information, isn't it? Rather than the sort of vacuous two-sentence tweet that we can often get caught up in. It goes on to say, apply your mind to instruction and your ear to words of knowledge. And that's where I'm at today. Wondering whether or not I should be calling out the people on social media who are just not getting it right. And that's not that they have a different opinion to myself. We're allowed different opinions. We're allowed to think differently and behave differently. Of course we are. We're allowed to have difficult political persuasions. We're allowed to disagree. But we have to do that in the context of good information, good knowledge, kindly listening to the other side of the argument and not being sucked into the vacuous hotheads who will spout something whether it's true or not and don't care about going back to the source of the information and making sure that we are being factual in the way that we form our opinions. Wow. I'm not going to say any more about that because I think that's the challenge to you. It's certainly the challenge to me. And yeah, if I say any more, I'll start to sound all righteous myself. And do you know what? I make mistakes all the time. And I go back and I delete things. And I have to apologise sometimes. And, you know, I'm a work in progress. Definitely a work in progress, and definitely always learning something. I love having a house full of young people because actually they're really well read. They know how to make the most of online information and give me some great depth and insight to some of these arguments that are around and some of these worries that we have. And yeah, read widely, form your opinions from multiple sources, and let's us all stop being hotheads and vacuous without knowledge in our use of social media. That's quite a sermon, isn't it? I'm going to finish my cup of tea, and I'm going to hope this rain clears because there's a ton load of washing to put out, and I'm going to hope that you have a really good day. Take care. Lots of love. Bye bye. God bless. Bye bye.